Okay, here's one. Pick this back up in here. Admit all. Admit all again. All right. So the levels of intent. I'll do. I should do it on camera because I don't care about it. It's not as bad as smoking. They'd really throw a fit if I did that one. He's walking. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Need to do the spot. Welcome to class, everyone. Sorry I was running late, but I am here. And thankfully, you all are here still. So, yay. I like that. We got to talk about criminal law stuff. If we did anything in this class in terms of the Blackboard itself. We do need to download some of those maybe and crack those open. But we'll start off with the talk about levels of intent and that kind of thing, because that's a really, really important lesson. Because they'll teach two different things. Okay. Give me those levels of intent.
No. Recklessly. Negligently.
Okay, so those are your 4 levels of intent. This stuff is hard because you have to reach inside the mind of someone and pull it out to some degree. And good golly, it's like when we start talking about the history of brain surgeries, it's like, so here's lobotomies, right? It's not easy to read someone's mind. How do you do it? Well, first you have to be able to make distinctions in things, and that's the really hard thing, because there's 2 sets of distinctions here if you really think about it. What it is and what it isn't. And you have to keep both of them straight at the same time for whatever things you're dealing with. So this is sort of like think of it almost like a continuum, right? So what it is it's a bit of an interaction kind of thing in terms of both. You different thing. Okay, I won't say. I'll go over here. Maybe go over there. Maybe specificity. Maybe it's the level of thought to some degree. We talked about alignment when we were talking about concurrence, so I wouldn't necessarily put that in here, right? Ooh, here's a good question. Anyone in here ever shot a gun? Not as many hands as I'd like. I mean, you guys put some hands up. It was a little slow. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. You guys ever went to 4th of July and saw fireworks? Yeah. Like, yeah. Like for some people, it's like that whenever they go do that kind of thing. Yeah, it can be. That kind of thing with that. How many people die per year from a gun accident? Any ideas? What is a gun accident?
Could be like an accidental discharge.
Ooh. Accidental discharge. Tell me what that looks like. Like you're.
I mean, like the trigger could be like a hair trigger.
Okay. Hair trigger. You ever seen the movie Rust?
Yeah.
Hasn't it come out yet? I have no idea. That's the one with Alec Baldwin, right? That's a really dark joke because it's not funny at all.
Because he kills
Like,
the actor.
yeah. He is such a good shot. When he fired off, he didn't even mean to. He hits 2 people with 1 shot, right? One of them dies. Ha! It's like, that's a hell of a damn joke. That is really dark. Welcome to the field, right? It's gallows humor. You'll see that a lot. And you'll find some really funny people here too. Yeah. There are no ADs mostly. Like there are NDs, negligent discharges. You didn't know what the hell you were doing. Dumbass. Right? That's me. It's like, oh, you want to hear a good story? You don't have any guns anymore. Used to. Had different. One of them was a rifle, and so I was doing some work on it. It needed a new stock and grip and that kind of thing because It was from the 90s, whenever you couldn't get one that had a normal grip, you had to get one that had a rifle grip for a gun that's for fighting. It's like, that's not what it's for. They're doing it on purpose to try and control use. So it's one of those things you have to be very, very careful with this stuff as you start thinking about it. With that, I wasn't paying any attention. It's like, okay, weight balance is a little bit better, handles a little bit easier. Okay, that's good. Should I ever need to use it a little bit better? Wasn't paying attention. Whenever I was feeling the balance, I put the magazine back in it. And at some point in time, whenever I was moving it, I guess I let the slide, I moved the slide. And then as I was setting it down, right into the ground. Ooh, yeah, I'm a dumbass. Yes, 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 I thought it was all. Right. We have to make these distinctions. Part of this is to some degree specificity. How specific are you? Because that's going to show me how much you're thinking about it, right? If you envision, you guys ever watch Star Trek? Okay. The hollow room thing. What is that? A room of nothing, right? You go in there and I pretend to be whatever. How hard is that to the image in your mind? Well, it's that hard because it's all fake. It's all technology, right? Okay. Thought about it hard enough, you made it real. It's kind of an abstract kind of underlying lesson in that kind of idea of just that room. How real is it? What degree are you thinking about things? That's what we're trying to get. Sometimes it's specificity, sometimes it's about how much, how intricate, all the different reasons, all those things built together. This one is 0 when it comes to that, right? Difference between accident and negligence. I think it was the late 90s. I don't remember the time thing. I don't remember time anymore. Good golly, that's getting old. Be careful with that one. Still have fun with that one. Oh, I think it was late 90s. Remington. You guys recognize that? Yes. Shot. So they have a pretty interesting design for some of their rifles. They use different designs, and most of them are pretty extremely simple. If you ever actually get into a gun, it's the most simple damn thing you'll ever see. In terms of engines, in terms of mechanics, there's nothing more simple. It's just one spring. That's all it is. One spring and a little bit of slide action. If you got a semi-auto, if you got a revolver, it's a little bit more complicated, but not really. It's more complicated because you weren't thinking far enough ahead. That's Browning. John Browning. That's a different story. The gun thing. Depending on how it's designed, it works a little bit different. You need to know its design if you want to keep it safe and it's going to be in your possession. Okay. Interesting thoughts here. School stuff, they usually tell you, it's like, oh, you would be afraid of the gun kind of thing. They won't teach you how to use the gun most of the time. Why? Because if it comes in here, it's real dangerous. As a result, when it comes in here, no one knows how to use it, which makes it more dangerous. It's like, oh, that's it. This thing right here. It wasn't negligence. Theirs was an accident. Family had a rifle. It had a cross bolt safety. That means you have a trigger in it to keep it safe. It's got a little button right here that moves back and forth. That little thing right here is going to look like this to some degree. And as this thing moves around, it either frees up the trigger or the rifle or the firing mechanism, or it blocks it. The way they designed it, they made a cheaper design to use a little bit less metal. In doing so, what would happen is over some use, this thing wears out, and whatever's holding it in place, when you take that safety off, rather than taking the safety off, it disengages this thing from in here. Gonna take the safety off, boom! That's not supposed to happen. That's an accident. When that rifle went through their vehicle, I think it was in a trailer. I think it was like, well, fifth wheel kind of thing that they're pulling. They were hunters, family hunting trip, taking the rifle off safety because they're getting ready to unload it because they were done for the day. Rifle went through that fifth wheel thing right into one of their kids. Dead. Yeah. That's an accident. Real shitty. That's an accident. Negligent is desk pop. Oh, desk pop, and there goes Bobby. Oh, that's Yeah, that's stupidity. This is stupidity. That's what that one is. See someone doing something stupid. That's a low degree of stupidity. You should have known better. This one, higher degree of stupidity. Wow, you really should have known better, right? You're driving 90 miles an hour on a sidewalk. Of course, you're going to plow through those kids, kind of thing. Yeah, you didn't mean to. I mean, you didn't know they were coming around the corner, but dang, you did that. You did that, not the kids. That kind of thing. More stupid. It's worse, right? That kind of thing. The next two. These ones are real fucking evil. Means you meant to do what you're doing. You meant it. This is the real deal. All that other shit's a lie. On top of everything else, not only are you trying to do whatever it was you're doing, you're lying to everyone. Welcome to evil. That's real evil. What is that real evil? Knowing you know exactly what the hell you're doing, right? That's that one. Should never need to explain that again because now you know exactly what it is. That's it. Right. You had a design here. That's it. That's enough. Premeditation. How much time did you put into it? That's sometimes an extra one on top of it. That's where you start getting murder. We'll get around a little bit. Positives and negatives. What it is. No, that's positive. What it isn't over here. How do you distinguish it? It's this because it's not any of these things. This one's this one because it's not any of these, and we can't get to this level, right? It's a rising scale to some degree of evil, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. Now it's a methods lesson. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Sorry, I know some of you are in methods class. Yeah, I'm going to keep throwing numbers at you because you'll see that numbers don't matter. Like points in class. Oh, we should talk about Blackboard stuff. So I got to put out some stuff in there saying. We'll do that towards the end if I remember. Remind me when we get closer to time. All right, so as you do this, what this means is this is a rising scale. If I can't meet this level, then that person's not guilty of anything, depending on how I charge them. Because what I charge them requires this. Not guilty of anything. I don't have this. If I've written the criminal statutes where there's another statute that hits those same actions in this level intent, good to go. Yes. Okay, so now it doesn't matter as much how much they're thinking about it. We can start to account for how evil it is. Right? This is what I try to get across with eye for an eye. Right? You lose that level of intent. It doesn't matter if you're trying to help. Something bad happens. You're the one held responsible. Welcome responsibility. It's called control. It's the same thing. Just responsibility. It's the negative side of it for people. Everybody wants the control. That shit sucks. Get away from it. Take responsibility. You don't want control over anything at all because if you let it go and you let it free, guess what? I do better. It's interesting. Ooh, that one. Let's let you admit. All right. That's how it works. It's a sliding scale downwards. If you do a good job and you can actually establish it, you can punish a person more, maybe. Or if you can't tell just how bad it was when you did it, you let them off as much as you can to include, let them out the goddamn door. Right? That's the jury nullification. Right? Like that, or that law thing, that's wrong. Let it go. It's this whole system. It's based off of that. It weighs both sides. All of the time, people only weigh one side, theirs. Hell of a thing, isn't it? You see that one a lot. It's here. It's right here. You just need to look. Okay? So now you know a little bit about intent. If I can establish it, I'm trying to establish at the highest level I can. I have to work the threshold and I have to work the process slowly. That kind of a thing. Where do we go? Okay, as I move, depending on how the charges are set up, the statutes. Sometimes you have to charge them individually for each of these as different crimes. That's charge stacking sometimes, right? When you committed that murder, you also committed a rape, a kidnapping, a false transfer, false imprisonment, all those things. It's like, okay, how the statutes are written, I might have to charge you for it. Maybe. Usually what happens if they do it right is this one plus lesser included offenses when you get charged that way. No, we can't get this one, so we'll drop down a degree. That's why it's written that way. That's why it's murder in the first versus murder in the second. Because we know this one, even though I remember, this is the worst one, right? And it goes down from there to where you get to down here dealing with manslaughter. It's not considered the same thing anymore. It's a different thing, even though it's the same damn action. Is it hot or is it cold? Is it yes or is it no? I'm thinking Katy Perry. Anyhow, it's the same kind of thing, right? We don't want hot or cold. We want it to be right in the middle. There's a Goldilocks zone here. How do you do it? Well, we can't do it individually because people do that kind of thing to take sides. So we have to do it across people. That's why we have this whole system set up this way. It will self-balance if you don't try to take control. That's probably the big problem in society right now is everything wants control. Now, let go. Watch. Oh my goodness, it takes off. That's it exactly. All right. So specificity, level of thought, positives and the negatives. What it is, and all being weighed at the same time. This is why lawyers have above average IQ. More things that you can hold in your mind. Well, potentially you can overwhelm people's minds, right? I'm just going to throw another fact at you, throw another fact at you, throw another fact at you, throw another fact at you. Okay, how many of those do you remember? How are you putting them together? Now I'm going to start influencing how you put them together. And I might twist a few things as we go. Right? How much can you remember? That's why that kind of stuff's important. That's one tactic, by the way. That's something they do if you watch that. That's why things get so complex, why it's so important to take notes. It is. It's like if you ever find yourself in that situation, it's like, you'll find out real quickly. It's like, oh, that whole thing about they can't lie to you. Why did that prosecutor or not prosecutor, why did that defense attorney say this person's a good person, good family man kind of thing? You pull up his records after you convicted them because that person was obviously guilty. How many crimes did they commit? Oh, they've got a 20-year history that includes at least 24 felonies that are violent. It's like, oh shit. Yeah, glad we convicted this guy. So he gets back out there, he runs into me, I'm going to kill him. And then I'm on trial because I'm the bad guy now, even though that's not the case. Right? That's the system. Welcome to the double-edged sword of justice. Sword of Damocles is one I used to use. It's hanging by a thread. Guess who the thread is? But not one of you controls it because you have to learn how to let go. As soon as someone does try to take it, it's stolen. Okay, so that's a little bit about intent. We got through that. Did that hit a little bit better this time, guys? Good. Now you're starting to see what it is. With each thing, you're trying to deal with what it is and what it isn't in factuality, in reality. Everything's a question. This is why I kind of tied in the philosophical thing, Schrodinger's cat. It's both dead and alive. You have to run with both at the same time and build both sides to see which one is the real thing. Maybe it's not either. Maybe it's some weird mix of both. Right? Because you got two sides. Now you can mix. Now you got three different points you can start to try to put together, try to figure things out. Look at that. It's that triangle thing. How many things can you hold? Now it's 3 times whatever it is they're actually dealing with. It gets really complex. You know what I'm saying there with that? It's like, don't do the numbers thing. It'll drive you crazy. All right. So that's that one. Negligently. Ooh. Politics. That one's a pretty big one. Last election cycle, the last election cycle before that. So was that 8 years ago? That was, if you do the politics thing, Hillary Clinton's email kind of thing. It's like, you ask people to go destroy your stuff, right? You ask them to go destroy it. You didn't know it was a crime. You didn't have any intent here, so we're not going to charge you with anything. There was still some damage here. All of those records and the security risks and those types of things. What do we do? Do we want to punish it or let it go? It's one of those on here. Should we punish it or let it go? I'm not going to give an answer to that one. I know, well, actually, I'll give my answer to it. I'll let you guys think about it. Yeah, no, you let it go. Fine. Mercy's a thing, right? You get what you give what you get. Hopefully, and that's if we're getting along, that kind of thing. Yeah. On the other side, there are others. That's the one that pops up in my mind the most because that's the lowest level with someone who's extremely high, senior, and knows better, right? That'd be like Enron. You dealt with Enron. You guys know that name? Okay, that one's going to be before your time. That's a corporation that went belly up and took the retirements of, that's 2008 kind of thing. That whole crisis summed up in one company. They did is they ordered a whole bunch of people to destroy some stuff. They're pissed off. They can get the people who made the orders, but not the ones who actually destroyed stuff. They couldn't get everybody. Right? But you get those who should have known better. That's that thing there. So that's where liability comes in. You start looking at it that way. You start being put in charge of things. You start being responsible for it. It's not necessarily control, it's responsibility. What it always is. It's it all the time. Okay. Let's see. Yes, last time I was looking at meth. No, it's methods class. They abbreviated that one as meth. I don't like that. You guys online can't see that. So I'm going to show you now so you don't get the weird joke, but you won't get it right away, but now you'll see it. There you go. I've got a search in here for meth. I don't want it. I just don't sleep. I'm already wired enough. I don't need that. All right, this all terms. We don't want that. Current courses. We go down to, this is criminal law. So in this, I opened up a few more of these parts. Well, how far did we get in this? I think we got the second one because that's where it starts talking about elements, if I remember correctly. Let's pull both those up real quick. We'll start working through those in a second. All right. In the meantime, yeah, that's it. Boom, boom. Meantime, you'll see quizzes out there set for this Wednesday. It will stay open if you need more time than that. I think I mentioned that last time. I can't remember. And there's the assignment. So make sure you do both of those if you've not seen those. I've got more of those. I'll pop out here in a little bit, but that'll get us right now. Just going to grab 3. Get that. No, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I downloaded the same one twice, didn't I? Maybe I switched them. That says outline. And then I did. Wrong link. Oh, well. So that's where we start getting anticipatory. There's the time element. We're not going to probably get to that today. So we are on number 2. Time is one of those things that is immortal. Funny thought right there. Now look at the depictions of time across time. What do you usually see? Oh. Okay. Video game fans? Let's see. So I really think God of War. You ever played God of War? Dang it. Why do you make me feel like, why'd you do that? You're supposed to say yes. Don't do that again. Okay. Just play Star Trek video games. You don't learn, do you? Lie. You're supposed to lie here. Yes. Now. So God of War is a good one because the mythology associated. Cronus. Time. You look back to that story. What is it? A bunch of gods rebel. And that's one of the big ones, right? Yeah. You're going to wrestle with that guy a lot. That's where we'll get in chapter 3 to start dealing with that. Because, that's a hell of a time. All right, so let's see where we're at. So, act, not status. That's a big one because people want to punish others. I pointed that out several times as I'm talking about some stuff. You probably had some feelings somewhere, one way or another. It's like, depending on what it was and what we're talking about. Maybe you feel, taken back by that. We're like, we need to go after that kind of thing. It's like, what that means is there's some motivations intrinsically within people to move in different directions on things. Kind of an important thing because this is how we get along. Make sure that we act appropriately, right? Because ultimately it's actions. Your intents matter. They'll dictate it all, but your actions are what really matter here. You have both actions that you do take, actions that you didn't take. There's both sides again. Both matter. What does happen and what doesn't. So mind the gaps, right? That's life. Okay. Involuntary acts generally not criminal. Can cause civil liability, yes. Here we go. Culpability for involuntary acts. This is where it gets interesting. We'll talk about it more later. Drinking and driving. Everyone knows the person who chose to drink and drive is the one who's at fault. It doesn't matter that they chose to drive after they've been drinking. Right? Yeah, their mind's cloudy, but well, they decided to drink. Would it have been reasonable to know that they were going to do that? What does it mean to be reasonable? Most people don't know that. That's actually kind of funny. Like, let's be reasonable here. Like, well, you're not being reasonable. Well, I don't know. I don't look at it that way. It's not whether I think it's reasonable. I think if the average person looks at something, what is that? Why do the TED 2 thing? Well, it's TED 1. Why is there a shit in the floor? You know, that kind of a thing. Did someone put it there on purpose? Right? Wildly different things. Someone might be responsible for it. Someone might not. Right? I had diarrhea. Yeah, but you knew you had diarrhea and you just sat there on my favorite chair. You know, I was like, whatever, right? Think of something gross. I was like, yeah, I get it. I get it real fast. Okay, moving forward. Corpus delicti, body of crime. We talked about that. Not always tangible because sometimes we're not dealing with things. We're talking about relationship between things, right? It's easy to say you can't find the body, right? We know that this guy's missing. He's just up and disappeared and there's no movement of money, right? Yeah, he's run away. That's what it is. Oh, he's dead. Why? No, I'm not going to get into that. Intent, here we go. Most difficult. Willful commission of an act that's general intent specific. So, general intent, what they're talking about there is, well, that specificity kind of thing. Those lower levels don't require as much. I don't have to prove that you were thinking. I have to prove that you weren't, maybe, right? Or that you should have been. You go. Okay, concurrence. We talked about that last time you were in a day roll. We'll talk more about time here in a minute because the time thing is something that's very, very interesting if you get into it. Give you guys a thought that's going to blow your minds. I don't know. Maybe it will. It's one I still can't wrap my head around. It's that whole positive and negative thing being at the same time and being the only reason it exists. But for concept we talked about last time. That one's pretty funny. If you know what the butt's for, then you know what the butt's for. Keep your butt out of it, kind of thing. It's like it's really funny if you think about it. Intervening acts. Don't butt in. Yes. Attendant circumstances we talked about. Circumstances that can affect things that surround the crime. This one they use the marital. How you right? That one. I don't like that one. Well, there you go. It's like in that relationship, that thing didn't exist because of the way that they drew the boundaries of that relationship and the possessory interest of people. I get the slave thing. Oh, do I get that one? Woo. All right, liability we talked about, so I can move a little faster on that one. Strict vicarious enterprise. Sometimes they'll call that one no, not vicarious. So we did get through this one. Cool, I can start talking about time. All right. We'll start with, look through this real quick, make sure we got all that. We did. Okay, excellent. Now we're off into 3. Okay. Anticipatory offenses, parties to the crime kind of thing. So this is where you start getting into how far criminal activity balloons out, how aware you need to be of it before you consider it involved. And that time thing is a really, really, really important element of all things. In fact, okay, maybe we'll have some philosophical. My son liked this one last night. Talking with him about this. It was last night, might have been the night before. I don't know. I have no sense of time. That's why it's so fun. It was not this class. I did this one. That thing right there, you know what that is, right? That's Einstein's thing. It's like you realize the time's baked into that, right? Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Speed's velocity, speed's time. Right? It's one of those things. It's really interesting to think about. Because if you think about light, you guys have heard those studies, right? About light and how the fact that it is outside of time. You guys are aware of that? Yes? Or is this something new to you? You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? They did an experiment on light. I'll have to find it and share it because it's something that will reveal feel a little bit about the nature of what exists and what doesn't. Essentially what it was is they were testing light, whether it's a particle kind of thing or whether it's a wave, because it can exist in two forms. It's one of those things that can exist in two different forms. How it exists, the relationship between the two that matters. From that one, what they found was, okay, every time we test it, it only comes in one of those two forms. Doesn't matter. Every time we do it, we always get that one. If we don't test it, we'll get the other one. What is it? They had to think long and hard about it. Well, the thing's moving at the speed of light. Time does not matter to it. The reason why is because when we interact with it, it takes that specific form. It knew when it left its source what was going to happen to it at time 1 or time 2. This doesn't matter to it. It knows it already. Do we have fate or do we have free will? What are you actually responsible for? Because if it's something like that, you have no control over anything. That light's already left that star 18 billion years ago to meet your hand when you're using it to stab someone, right? It knows what you're going to do already. What are you going to do? Can you actually change it? Or are you just subject to fate? You tell me. That's all the thought, isn't it? What you'll realize is that by thinking, those thoughts you have are outside of time too. That's why you can imagine the past and the future. Hi, you're running on the same energy as the universe. And in fact, if you really think about it, your actions literally span time, because if you exact your will, this thing doesn't matter to that light way out there. It's running on the same energy. You know that already. It's right there. Okay. That's life. Okay, so solicitation, those types of things, attempts, conspiracy, time. Your understanding of it change a little bit? Yeah, that's a really messed up thought if you think about it a lot. Why? Because if we were ever able to actually test and see where light was going to go and know what was going to happen in advance, could we then actually change it? Would we see light bend, or would it slip outside of our universe? Who knows? That's philosophy. That's also quantum physics, astrophysics, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. Ew. I can deal with this one pretty good. Huh. You'll see that word right there, inchoate crimes, cohate. Basically, what that means are incompleted crimes. Why are they incompleted? Wasn't done. Essentially, we start getting to for some facet of this thing. That's the only reason why it didn't happen. So you have to be able to go through and establish that if it weren't for that element right there, this thing would have happened. Right? It's an attempted murder. It's not like they were just playing around with a gun. If they were, it wouldn't be attempted murder. That's a different thing. That's reckless endangerment or something like that. Whatever. Maybe manslaughter if you killed somebody. That kind of a thing. Incomplete. So time is a factor. First, it starts out with the different ways you can begin to start to run into criminal activities. What's the first one you think? I'm gonna make a really bad joke here in a second. Later, we'll have another conversation that will actually be really nasty. I'm going to ask a question that's kind of similar. That part actually made my stomach swirl a little bit just thinking about it. That's nasty. Solicitation. It starts with that one. Why? Are you right? Are you asking for it? Ooh. Yeah. Okay. What's your intent? What's your behavior? What did you do? Start asking. Can I get this? Right. What is it? Solicitation for. Usually people go into prostitution because that's the most common one for this. It is the most common one for this. You can be soliciting anything. Yeah. It's like trying to solicit a hitman kind of thing. It's like, oh, that's also not good. Yeah, we'll stop that too and we'll punish you for that one. Right? All kinds of bad behaviors we need to stop. And the problem with these things are those inchoate crimes is how do you stop? How do you stop crimes from happening? They haven't happened. Are you getting to where you're punishing someone for what they haven't done? Not punishing them for what they haven't done. There's a whole lot of things I haven't done that you can find a reason to punish me for. Right? We have to worry about that one in the system all the time. That's why we have that adversary system. That's why it is when we have to establish guilt and not innocence, because it's really, really easy to prove that you haven't done something. In this case, with me, you haven't proven your innocence. Now you're dead. Okay. I've done what you haven't done. Pre-crime. You guys have heard of that one, right? That phrase. Everyone likes that phrase. What is that? What is it?
It's a pre-crime.
Yeah. What is it?
Before the crime happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen it depicted anywhere? Usually get the sci-fi stuff. Back to Star Trek again. You should have been nerds. Good golly, I'm gonna chuckle at myself a little bit. It's worse than you know. It really is. Come on, I just got to chuckle about that one. All right, so the hell was I talking about? I'm thinking about Star Trek and nothing but Star Trek. Jesus. Gotta look on that. Okay, so talking about time. It's a solicitation and asking for attempts. Pre-crime. That's where I was at. Pre-crime. Right. There's a wide range of things you could do, and no one knows exactly what. So what's the probability that you could do something wrong? How likely is it? You ever done something wrong? Yeah, she's seen everybody's hands go up. It's like, yeah, you guys have broken some laws at some point, right? I mean, by the time I was your age, federal felonies and kind of stuff like that, right? I'm sure you won't commit to it. You'll just, yeah, it's like, I know you guys do this. Everybody does it, right? Whether it's, I have something and I shouldn't, I cross the line kind of thing, or whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter. People do all kinds of things. That includes you. So this is you too. And you have to look at it this way, because if you're going to use it against your weapon, you're going to, again, double-edged sword. I'll go swing it that way. Right? Swing at your own head. Okay. Pre-crime. How do we do it? We need to get some type of clear behavior that indicates it. Some way to show that this is what will happen if it continues. We're on to solicitation. We'll say, what time is it? I'm trying to think of a big name researcher that you guys would recognize the names, but it just depends on, can't remember how many of you have like beer or something like that. We'll take, just imagine it's just some leading researcher in the field, something like that, but in this field, who is a qualitative researcher, something like that, where they're going to be interviewing people, that kind of thing. That's their job. How can you tell the difference between this and research? You're going to go up, you're going to start talking to a prostitute. Hey, I'm studying prostitutes. I need to know who the prostitutes are so that way I can start dealing with this problem. Okay. And you're hanging out with prostitutes. This is looking real good. Especially you guys, idiocracy. Oh my goodness. Players, because it's something like this too, but they're doing it in a negative way. Yeah, like it's going to look exactly the same. You have to make that distinction. And it's not going to be easy. How do you tell whether someone's leaving their house to go to a gun range or to make a new gun range? How can you tell? Not easy. I think we're about out of time. We got 4 more minutes. Any questions? Give you something to think about? Yeah. Starting to see how complex life is. It is both everything and nothing all at once. Both priceless and worthless because, hey, it doesn't fit in that system. That's methods. That's that lesson. Right? Trying to understand anything, what's going on is incredibly complex. And then if you ever get in the territory where you think someone's done something wrong, welcome to us. And oh my goodness, get ready for a lot of information, a whole lot of time, and a whole lot of thought and headaches. Right? But that, I think that's enough for today. I will catch you guys Wednesday. Make sure you review this and you're taking like the quiz and the time. I can't remember if I said it to be unlimited in attempts or if I said it for free.
It's a 3.
Okay, if you guys need more, let me know, because what I'll do is in some of my classes, if I don't care about it, test, pre-test thing, test, pre-test. You take it enough times because you're worried about points, guess what? You're gonna remember it anyway. Hi, that's why I do that. So when you go take the test, you get a better test rate. You worry about that. I don't care about that either. You remember something. Hey, I like that part. Continue, right? This is how important it is. You literally redefine reality every time you move. I did that.
I just want to let you know that Wednesday I'll be going with James Bell to take the MMPI, and it's from 9. Yeah, 9, and he said I'll probably be out.
Okay, okay,
So
cool,
I'll
cool.
be here.
Yeah.
But I'll watch the video. That's the
Yes,
positive thing.
yes. I'm always run like a couple days behind this. Wednesday, this last week, I didn't get back up here on Thursday or Friday to upload videos. So if you find out I'm running, you might actually be in class even before it gets up, just in case. Like,
Okay.
so if you find that's the case, don't worry. I mean, not running, like we're kind of like half into
Usually you
a
go
lesson.
over what we
That's it.
previously
Yeah.
talked about, so.
That's why I want that stuff to stick. It's hard to remember stuff, and my head hurts a lot. But anyhow, you have a great day. I'm going to sign off from here for you all who are still on here. You all take care and have a great day.